I was working with a trainer who was programming me for sport at the time. And when we got the gym and I started working in there and got back into the CrossFit world, it was kind of cool to see CrossFit helped my performance as well. So all the powerlifting, Olympic lifting, and even the gymnastic stuff, it's just so much core, which in curling you need, that's where a lot of your force comes from, sweeping, strong legs, drives for the sweeping, obviously strong upper body. So it was cool to see, honestly, I feel, for me, it was feeling, I'm whoa, I feel a lot stronger this year getting on the ice. And that, I know the off season, I was the only thing I changed was adding in 2-3 CrossFit classes a week. Everything else in my training was the same.
And if you had to compare, which one has your heart more?
Oh, definitely curling. Yeah.
Not even close.
Not even curling. I mean, I love lifting weights and getting stronger, but it's always been so I could be a better athlete. That's always been kind of the goal, was to be a better athlete. With curling, when Will and I first met, I wasn't really doing CrossFit at that point. I was just working out, strength training. And I was working with a trainer who was programming me for sport at the time. And when we got the gym and I started working in there and got back into the CrossFit world, it was kind of cool to see CrossFit helped my performance as well. So all the powerlifting, Olympic lifting, and even the gymnastic stuff, it's just so much core, which in curling you need, that's where a lot of your force comes from, sweeping, strong legs, drives for the sweeping, obviously strong upper body. So it was cool to see, honestly, I feel, for me, it was feeling, I'm whoa, I feel a lot stronger this year getting on the ice. And that, I know the off season, I was the only thing I changed was adding in 2-3 CrossFit classes a week. Everything else in my training was the same.
Hi guys, it's your girl Nechama, your favorite Jew from the Lou. Welcome back to my podcast. And today I am so excited to have Dayna. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And if anyone's been following the journey of the podcast, you should go watch Will's episode, because we're actually in the same location where he and I first interviewed. And that interview went all over the place. We pre-gamed and it's still went all over the place. But that's okay. We had coffee, we had a good talk, and all was well. So I love to start off my episodes by talking about how I know my guests. And so you are newly engaged.
Yes, we are. It was right after Christmas, actually.
It's a little bit about your story, because you are a dental hygienist.
Yeah.
And then you were here in St. Louis, I believe, for a conference.
Yes, I was here in St. Louis it was actually a fitness conference I was here for. I was a dental hygienist still at the time. And I was here for a conference and ended up running into Will and Pete, actually, just out for dinner. And we ended up getting ball tickets for 2 days later, hanging out a whole bunch, and the rest is kind of history, honestly. We started commuting back and forth a little bit. He came up to Canada 3 weeks later, and then we just went back and forth for 2 years, truthfully, every couple weeks. Yeah, the longest we'd go was about 6 weeks. And then it's been the last 2 years that we've been more stable. I'd say we bought a home in Canada, and that's kind of our home base now.
Did you ever think when you came here for a conference that you would meet a guy from, forget another city, but a whole other country?
No, gosh, no. I was thinking I was coming to St. Louis just one time and that I likely wouldn't be back again. That work was just bringing me here, and I didn't even really think twice about coming back, because it was just for work, and that was the plan.
Oh, yeah, because St. Louis is so random.
I didn't know much about the city even. Yeah, till we got here and we're checking out the city. And obviously now we've been back here lots, and there's so much to do, a lot of fun.
I think that's the coolest thing about a city, is that the more time and patience you give it, you can really find the charm and you could find what to do. You build a community. So I feel like especially having Will as your fiance, now you have community in 2 cities, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And you guys have like taken this concept of the CrossFit gym and taken that over to Canada.
Yeah, it was not necessarily planned.
Okay. And no question. What's your zodiac sign?
I'm Scorpio.
Scorpio?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And he's a Sagittarius. So fun. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. I'm kind of like got my thing. I've been learning a lot about Scorpios recently. So I'm in the know. Okay.
Yeah, we were actually going on a little bit of a vacation, and we said we weren't going to work the whole time there. As I was driving to the city, he was still in St. Louis. We were going to meet in the Dominican, and he sends me this screenshot of an email sent out to the Meadow Lake gym that they were looking to sell the CrossFit gym up there. And he's like, "What do you think?" And I was looking at, like, that was kind of a goal of mine, was to either run my own personal training gym. I was doing lots of personal training at that time. So it was definitely on the radar. We hadn't even really thought about that space because it seemed like it was pretty locked and loaded and that they had a good thing going on there. So when it came up for sale, it was like, well, should we talk to them? And the next day, our first day of vacation, we were on a call and put a deposit down.
Amazing. I mean, honestly, success loves.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy how just like everything can change. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was within a few months we had possession.
The Sagittarius.
Where's that?
Yeah. So Aries is kind of like that too, but a little bit more intense than the Sagittarius because I'm an Aries. So that's why I get Will's energy.
Right.
It's so fun. But he's an executor. He makes things happen.
Oh, yeah. Figures things out. He never really gets too stressed out. He's just like, yeah, I'll figure that out. Don't worry about it.
Does that stress you out that he doesn't get stressed?
Not necessarily. I'm similar to that, not to the extent that he is, if that makes sense.
So you guys bought the gym.
Yes.
And then at that point, you had already been to R2 here.
Yeah. Yeah. So were they just moving into this space at that time? I feel like they were at the old space and then had moved into this space already. And so then we got the new one up in Meadow Lake at that point. And it was pretty turnkey. Everything was obviously already functioning.
And the community was already there.
Exactly. Yeah. That was a big piece in why we wanted to purchase it, was the community and just being able to take the vision a little further in regards to helping people. I really like athletic training, helping athletes train. That space has more space to do that. It's more of a wide open gym.
Is it bigger than downstairs?
No, it wouldn't be bigger.
Okay.
But where I was training before, there was equipment everywhere. It was had a 24-hour access gym, which is limited in space. It wasn't like an athletic training gym by any means. So this space just gave me the tools to kind of bring the vision more to light as to what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you had said to me before we even started recording that you had been doing CrossFit when it first became a thing.
Yeah.
So how many years have you been doing this? I know you kind of took a little bit of a pause and you became a mom, but
yeah. What year would have that been? It was when CrossFit was very new. So I'm thinking it was 2010 because Scarlett was born. Yeah, I'd say 2010. And a lady in town kind of got on the CrossFit train. She opened up a small box. It was actually connected to our dental clinic. It was tiny. It was this tiny little space, and we built this cool little community.
Perfect. Go to work, go to the gym.
Yeah, we walked next door, and my boss actually co-owned it. So yeah, we just walked over there and worked out, and then went back to work, just sweating bullets all afternoon.
And she didn't care. She was chill. That's so nice.
It's yes, my face is still red.
But listen, it's so great that you guys have to prioritize. Yeah. And one thing I will say, I'm so scared of CrossFit. It freaks me out. But I'm right next door to it because I go to Ready Fitness training downstairs.
Yeah.
And so I see the CrossFitters all the time. And the one thing that I would say that they have an advantage of to like a regular gym is the community.
Oh, yes.
It
Yeah.
all seems so close.
Yeah. Very tight knit. And even from the coaching aspect, like you just get to know everybody. You get to know what their kids are doing, what they're up to, what their goals are. And you just kind of have those small conversations each time that you see everybody, which, I mean, if you're coming regularly, that's 4 or 5 times a week. And they become the new family, the new gym family. And yeah, it's very tight knit. And just I feel like there's a very goal driven community as well. Everybody's pushing to be a little stronger, be a little healthier, set new intentions each quarter or each month, whatever that looks like for everybody. And it is a very growth minded community, I find.
It's crazy to think that Will was growing. What was the name of your gym? Yeah, the one in Canada.
Yeah, up north CrossFit.
Yeah, CrossFit and CrossFit right here at the same time.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it was some good insight because he had already kind of done it, right? Like him and Pete had taken over CrossFit Ready to Live, and they had been through that transition, made a few changes, software changes, whatever that looked like. And that was something similar that we did when we took over up north CrossFit, was just make it more streamlined, less barrier for entry. We introduced more strength classes, just bringing more options for people. Truthfully, in our small town, we are the only gym that offers group fitness classes besides the spin gym.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so just bringing more options to our community was a big changing aspect that just brought new faces into the gym, built the community, grew it up a bit more.
So would you say that you prefer to be a coach or do you prefer to like be an athlete? Which one do you enjoy more?
That's a tough question. It's funny because even when I'm an athlete, I kind of think of things I would say or do as a coach. I do enjoy being an athlete and being trained and like being pushed like that. But from a coaching aspect, it's very fulfilling to see people progress and hit those milestones. Yeah. And whether that's just a day-to-day member or an athlete hitting their goals, like maybe they reach the podium or they win provincials, or we're all provincial instead of state up in Canada. And so when you work with like specific athletes, usually they're working towards big goals. And I don't know, both ends are very fulfilling. And I do like having both in my life.
For sure.
Yeah, it's hard to pick between that one, I think.
The closest thing that I can relate to with that was I used to teach at like wine and paint classes.
Yeah.
Or like sip and paint, that's
right.
So I went to art school and loved painting. I loved doing anything creative.
Yeah.
But then being able to teach that was so fulfilling because people walk in and they're like, I'm not an artist. I can't do this. And then I'm telling them, can you write? And can you see? Like, I can teach you. You just have to be open. Yeah. And then seeing people get so proud when they walk away. And then also sometimes like they would teach me things. I would see like their techniques and I would be like, I would never have approached it that way. But look, I wish I had done it your way. Your way is so much better than mine, Yeah. And just the way, like sometimes when you have to explain something to someone who's a beginner, it really changes your mentality and your approach as well. And it helps.
Yeah. I've always said that even like to my coaches, like teaching a beginner from like the functional movements, like everybody should do that because it makes you a better coach. Because nobody, just starting from complete baseline, somebody brand new, and it's kind of an open slate, and just teaching yourself how to teach those movements really well and doing that often, it's a good way to learn how to be a more efficient coach, I find, because you have to use terms that everybody understands and you have to be clear, concise.
The worst, I think this is true in every industry, but if you can't explain something to a 5-year-old, do you really know what you're talking about? There are people who I've met who are so insanely intelligent, right? That like, I'm trying to be like in layman's terms, understanding what they're saying. I'm like, wait, can you break this down? I'm literally just a girl. So give me a second.
Let me process it.
Yes, it's just so much information, but it's good, you know. But I do think that there is something to be said to be able to explain it in layman's terms and to
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was because usually I run most of the beginners sessions just as the manager in it, like running the gym. That's kind of my one of my roles. And I learned so much just taking new members through that. It's just you learning how to explain things better and just get them into the movements better.
Yeah. And I love how CrossFit also has all the competitions.
Yeah.
That's really fun too, because I feel like not only do you have a community locally, but then you have this community wherever you go, wherever you go to a CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to just suddenly like one day.
Yeah. Will's actually pushed me like out of my comfort zone to go to new gyms in new cities because that wouldn't necessarily be my comfort in the past. I was very much creature of habit. I like my gym. I go to my gym.
Yeah.
But whenever we travel, he's looking up gyms. We go to gyms and it's very like similar community. So you end up visiting, you are in a very similar class structure. You feel at home pretty quickly. And I started to get less and less nervous about doing that. Now I look forward to it, but he definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone.
I'm thinking now, like in the zodiac terms, of whatever. I'm just a girl. I love zodiac. I don't like plan my day around it, but personality types, it's so much fun. You can learn so much about people. So like Scorpios are very deep, internal creatures of habit, you know, but at the same time, they like to be pushed out of their comfort zone. But they need that fire friend, if you will, to like so push. So like Will and you are perfect together because like you're so open and willing to do it. You just need someone who will push you. As you do it, you love it. You love the adventure.
Oh, and I've found in like phases of my life where I wasn't pushing myself, I was not doing very well mentally, if that makes sense. It was like, it's like, oh, maybe I don't like my comfort zone that much, actually. It's like I need to be pushing towards something, whether that's in business, life, or athletics.
That's so normal though. So that makes sense. Like everything that you're doing, the fact that you still practice some dental hygiene, how do you say hygiene, dental hygiene on the side, and then you run you're a mom, which in and of itself is like that's
a pretty big job, that one.
No, that's awesome. And you have 3 girls, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scarlett's 11 and the twins are 7.
Actually, twins. It's so fun. I mean, it's fun for everyone else. You're like, oh, I'm just
waiting for like one of these years for it to be easy, but it never gets easy with those two.
Yeah. But you know,
they're fun though.
It's out of the mom package, right?
Oh yeah. They're at the point now where they just play together. Whereas Scarlett like very much always wanted to play with me. The twins, they're like, no, we don't want to play.
You're like, great. This is so wonderful. Funny. So let's get a little romantic for a moment because my listeners know I am a romantic. I love a good love story. So like, I know Will's side. Yeah. Which he's a dude. So he didn't really use much. Like I tried. But he just basically talked about how, just like you said, you guys met at dinner. And he just saw you and had to know you. And so he went over and talked to you, which is kind of like low-key every girl's dream to be like, just living your life. Yeah. Panic. And then a guy was like, approaches you. So from your perspective, how did you feel when this random guy walks over to you? Yeah, like we were kind of actually situated like this. Like we were kitty corner. I don't know if you guys call it that. Corner. As I said it, I was like, oh no, that's a Canadian term. It's okay. By the way, congrats with the first Canadian I've had on the show. It's very exciting. But yeah, we were sitting like this. And so obviously it's funny because I noticed like obviously he's very fit and like handsome. I was like, oh, it's like, okay, looks like handsome and kind of just seemed very sure of himself, but not like boisterous or like in your face. Yeah, not obnoxious. And so I found that attractive. And we had sat there for likely an hour, maybe 2 hours, just like in that position. And then, he did eventually come over and started talking, kind of asking questions about me, my life, and that vice versa. And that's kind of how the rest of the night transpired. We were just connected after that. We didn't leave each other's side. Yeah. And then
yeah, I had an event the next day, but then on the Sunday we had ball tickets, which, I mean, looking at the weather, it was full like torrential downpour.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I'm pretty sure this ball game is going to be canceled. He was like, no, we still need to get together. Like, we'll meet down there.
So did you guys plan the baseball game when you were together walking that night?
That night. So he got out his phone and he's like, let's go to a ball game on Sunday.
Okay.
And he booked like 5 tickets.
That is to any time at all.
He booked 5 tickets. So we all had tickets to go to the ball game on Sunday.
To do a group thing. So it was like,
yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. And then, that we hung out as much as we could. And then I flew out, I think it was Sunday. No, it was Monday morning, I think it was. And then, it was just, we got to know each other a lot, just talking on the phone, video calls, because we had to, right?
Yeah.
But we also asked a lot of, I think, important questions early on because we had to.
Yeah.
It was kind of that forced communication, whereas I don't think that always comes forth when you're dating or.
Yeah. It just depends. Every dating story is so different.
So we just have always been pretty good communicators on that sense.
And it sounds like it was intentional.
Yeah.
Which is nice because this way, like, if you have those hard conversations early on, you just have fun.
Yes,
exactly. Like, just builds the relationship.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so great.
Yeah.
And so then with this most recent proposal, did you see it coming? Like, what was your...
Well, it's kind of funny. I've had that question a few times and not necessarily, like, we had talked about marriage. And so I knew like it was in the future at some point, but the trip to the mountains was not planned. It was very last minute. So in that sense, I was like, wow, like this wasn't really a planned event. We're just going to the mountains for a few nights and then we're coming home. And so I didn't really think it was going to happen. And then it was our last day there. So like the first 2 days it didn't happen. I'm like, no, likely not happening on this trip. And I didn't know if he had a ring or anything, right? It was just, we had talked about marriage. No, we didn't talk about that at all.
Actually.
So he had to get it rebuilt.
He did.
Yeah. So I just got it on Thursday.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
So this is from his grandmother's set, which originally was his grandmother's set that he gave me. But it was too big. And then when we went to get it resized, they couldn't. So they had to rebuild it. So, but the main stone is still from that set.
I love a good story behind her ring.
I know. Yeah. So the pictures are all kind of from the mountains. We were in Jasper when it happened. In the winter, the fires went through there a couple of years ago, like the big forest fires. So in the wintertime, it almost looks like a sketch because all the trees are like black sticks. So the mountains look like almost black and white sketches right now in the wintertime. So in the backdrop when he proposed, it was, like all these mountains and just
I could see your little teary-eyed moment. Yeah. It's so romantic though.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Like this is why I call myself like a connoisseur of love stories because I love these moments, like the emotion in the story. Everyone's story is so different. And that's what's so beautiful about love. Like, you never know when it's going to hit you and you never know like the proposal story either.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I feel like neither of us were, like, initially when we first met, we were really even looking for a serious relationship. And it's funny how it happened. And we were both kind of in that phase of transitioning and like getting comfortable on our own. But then it was hard to deny like our connection when we met. The more we talked, it was just kind of undeniable. It was always a matter of how are we going to just make this work? Like, you're in the States, I'm in Canada, I have the 3 girls. Like, I can't just move down to the States because we get that question a lot. Like, what's your guys' plan? Are you going to become a U.S. citizen, vice versa? Is Will going to do that? But we don't necessarily have to do that. I think Will can become like a permanent resident. And my one friend, she's from the States and that's what she does. She just keeps renewing it. So like, it's like, okay. It's like, it's good to talk to other people and see what they do.
That until it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, and I think you can do that indefinitely, which is nice.
Easy.
Yeah. So easy peasy.
I think that's what's so great too, is that I always have felt that in a relationship, if you really want to make it work, you'll figure it out.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
think so many people have the opposite where it's like they break out because sometimes very good, valid reasons.
Yeah.
But when there's a beautiful connection between two people, I truly think that if you really wanted to make it work, you'll figure it out. And so almost sometimes when like relationships end, even for valid reasons, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I just didn't want to make it work,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And there was definitely like times where we did like put more effort in, like throughout different phases, because we were both building businesses, building careers up and trying to manage the distance. And I mean, we did get to that certain point where it was like, okay, we don't want to be long distance forever. Like, what are we going to do? Yeah. Like, we don't want to be going 4 weeks without seeing each other. So it did get to that point where we decided to make some changes, and it worked out that Will got like a North American job at that time through his company and could work in Canada. So it was almost, the timing worked well. That's when we were able to move in together, and he can go back and forth and do business down here still. Yeah.
And what's great is it's just so cool how like your lives, I feel like, are a reflection in so many ways because you both have like regular jobs,
Yeah.
right? Like he's a software programmer, engineer. He does something computers.
Like cybersecurity.
Yeah. Smart.
Yes.
I just figure out, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you do the dental hygiene, and then you both run the two gyms.
Yeah.
And then also the family and they building it up. So you guys have a lot of moving pieces.
Yes, definitely. Always kind of juggling our schedules and looking ahead. What's this week going to look like? And trying to figure that out as much as possible. I know Will's not as much of a planner as I am, but he's gotten better. Like, especially our week out, we usually sit down Sunday and just look at the week.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, part of the entrepreneur journey that has been a little surprising for me, because I'm like you in the sense where on one hand, I really appreciate a good routine.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, sometimes I'm like, I need spontaneity. I need an adventure. I need things to change. I need something to look forward to. It's boring. But at the same time, like when you're an entrepreneur, there's, especially in the beginning, there's just, doesn't matter how well you plan your week. There are things that come up.
Oh, yes.
That there's just no rhyme or reason.
And the messages, like sometimes people will message you at 10 at night. Like, you kind of see it come in. Like, is this a is this a priority? Like, is it urgent?
Yeah.
Can it wait till the morning?
Yeah.
And I mean, in the beginning, a lot of it's like we were making a lot of shifts with the software, like new app, and it causes chaos when people are used to routine.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's very streamlined and it's very nice, but there was like a 6-month period where we made a lot of changes and there was just a lot of messages. And yeah, they'd come in, the influx would come in, and you don't always take that time into account when you plan your week, or like things coming up, like the last minute things, like maybe there's something going on at the gym that you have to fix that you need to take care of, and someone new messages you that you need to meet with. So all those things come up, and yeah, the schedule is kind of like the baseline, and then we add to it as the week goes on, I feel.
Yeah, I would agree to that. And I think that's why it's almost important to not put things too tightly in your schedule. Like, a little wiggle room. That's just for yourself.
Yeah.
Just to breathe. Just to be
some sanity.
Just some sanity. Yeah. And for me, like a big part of the purpose behind this is that I believe everyone has a story.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can feel really alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I personally found so much healing through like listening to podcasts. Yeah. Because I would hear other people going through similar situations of mine. Even today, I listened to one about entrepreneurship, and it's like, oh, thank God, it's not just me. That's normal. We all go through this, and like they were already like past the hard part, you know. And so it's like, oh, that was such a relief, and it was so comforting. And so, if I could even create that for other people, where they listen and hear other people's stories and can relate to it, and it gives them inspiration, you know. Yeah. And then also, like, I think it's really hard to hate up close. So
Yeah.
I wanted to create a safe space where no matter who you are, we can sit down and talk with like curiosity and respect. And then we may still not agree with each other,
Yeah.
but we understand each other. And
Exactly.
how cool is that?
Yeah. No, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing.
Thanks. For your reference, I have 2 older brothers. Bless their hearts, they have tried so hard to educate me on sports. I can't do it. I can't remember anything in sport. I enjoy it, but I think I just like spending time with my brothers.
Yeah.
Like I would just go to hang out with them. And my brother, I would ask him questions just because I thought it was cute how much he was like trying to like really help me understand it. And I would just be sitting there like,
smile and nod.
and then we would be there and like the whole crowd gets up, like it's in a baseball game because I guess they did a home run or something. Right. And everyone's like, woo! And everyone's like, yeah. Oh, cheer, like they're winning. They're like, oh, hey, good sports. And like, oh, gosh, I don't know. I'm not dumb per se. That's why I just.
It'd be hard to hyper focus on it when it's, you're not interested in learning about it. Yeah.
Can we also just take a moment to say how complicated sports is? I don't know the variables of like what makes a good player, how they're playing, what are the nuanced details of their training, and like
all the stats,
the plays,
all the numbers,
stats
they show.
I just like that's where I struggle. Personally, and I wish I had that knowledge because I see people talking and it looks so intriguing how they get so into it. And then there's like betting with sports too, where people are trying to like, I guess to a certain extent I do find it fascinating. Yeah. But I can't grasp the nuances.
Well, and every sport has its own, right? So it's, how do you even learn them all? Because there's so many.
Right. I didn't know about crawling. Until you. I didn't know it was a thing. I remember Will started posting on his stories, and I was like, what kind of mess up hockey is this? I was asking him with polo or hockey. I'm like, it's cold, but it's Canada, so I guess that makes sense. I'm like, another ice sport, I suppose. Like, so for the sake of the audience, if someone's as dumb as me, like, what is crawling?
So basically you have like a team of 4. Yeah. And you each throw 2 rocks. So those are the stones that you throw from one end to the other. If you've played shuffleboard before, there's like the rings on each side.
To that.
Yeah. So similar concept. You try to get closest to the middle circle, to the button, we call it.
Yeah.
And
I did try to study on chatting before. Yeah. So like the button.
And you can score like multiple points each end. Like if you had 3 closest to the button, versus your opponent, then you get 3 points. And only the rocks that are in the rings count. So if they're not in the rings, like in front of the rings, then they don't count. But there's kind of the strategic sense to it. It's very much like chess. Like you have to set up each end, which each 8 rocks that go down, we'd call an end. And so each team gets those 8 rocks. So I usually play lead. So I throw the first 2 stones.
Are you the quarterback? Is that?
No, that's the skip.
Okay.
That's the skip. So the lead is often setting up the end. So like we'll often set up the rocks in front of the rings so that we can try to sneak around.
It's a group of 4. A team of 4 playing against another team of 4.
Yeah. I'm like trying to explain it with my hands.
Right. I'm literally visualizing this. Speaking, I look at pictures too, don't you? Yeah. I do diligence before we start. Okay. So you have 2 teams of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the rock. So there multiple?
Yeah. So there's 8 stones, each color or rocks. Yeah. We call it either or. Yeah.
How big are these?
They're like 40 pounds.
Yeah, they're big. That's not rock.
And they're solid. They're solid granite, right? So they're pretty. That's why they're so heavy.
Oh, and so they're different colors because I guess is it kind of like cool in that sense where like the different colors mean different things?
Yeah, like they do try to get all of the rocks made from this one quarry. I think it's off of the coast of Ireland or Scotland. Yeah, we looked into touring it when we were in Ireland. That's why I think it's in that area.
Okay.
And so they do get all of the curling rock granite from this same quarry so that it's fairly similar. But in that sense, when we're not before a game, because that's when we get to throw those rocks for sometimes the first time. Sometimes we've played with them before, but we'll actually try to get a read on all of the rocks because with any rock, there can be variances. So sometimes one will curl a little more, one will be a little heavier, one will be a little faster or straighter. So
physics.
there's so much and like at the level we're at, it makes a big difference if a rock is 3 or 4 feet heavier. Because that's a difference of, us making her not making it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Hey.
We do that usually in our pregame practice that you get before every game. We match the rocks and try to figure out where we want to throw them.
Is there the same set of stones for each group?
So the other team would throw the other color. So they would have a set of 8 for themselves. But if you're at a big competition, like you might throw those rocks again. So
how are these not breaking the ice?
So they do build up the ice. Like it's kind of funny because when we went to St. Louis Curling Club, they fully played a hockey game out there and then Zambonied it and then started prepping it for curling ice. And I've never seen that in my life before. I was like, this is wild. It's like the Zamboni's out there.
Oh.
But like back home in our curling clubs, like the ice makers will actually build up the ice with pebble, which is like a sprinkle of hot water, which essentially forms these little tiny bumps on the ice. So they'll pebble the ice before we play. And that's what helps the stone kind of carry better. If it was totally flat ice, like hockey ice, the rocks don't move. Like it's so hard to throw it down. So that's why they pebble the ice. And obviously, like our top level ice makers at Olympics, at national events, they have it's a science of its own.
Yeah.
Like they have the ice temperature, air temperature, humidity levels. They're looking at all of that to try to make the ice surface the best that they can.
And so as the lead, right?
Yeah.
One who throws.
I'll either throw first or second, right? Because if the other team's throwing first, then they would throw their stone, then I would throw next. So I would throw, say we were throwing first, then I would throw my rock, and then the other lead would throw hers, and then I would go again. We alternate back and forth. Then after that, my job is to sweep. So I am sweeping the second, third, and skip stones, kind of the rest of the end. So that's kind of where fitness came in, I got passionate about fitness, truthfully.
Great shape.
Yeah.
You would throw out your whole body, your whole back.
Yeah.
To make that. Because you guys going really close to the ground.
Yeah. And in an ideal sweeping position, you actually want to be almost in your toes totally out and your head over the rock, so that you're almost in like a plank.
Wow.
So that you can, so you can put as much weight then down into your.
Are you wearing skates?
Curling shoes. So when we're sweeping, some sweepers have their slider on, but I usually wear 2 grippers. So then I have 2 grippy feet. And then you kind of have to just work your footwork. But it is like an act of balance and then also figuring out how to drive your weight down into the broom. Lots of people just want to kind of move their arms, which, you can kind of gauge how much power you can get. Like you're not getting as much power doing this versus your whole hips and body going down into it.
So how many this is it goes all the way to the Olympics, right? Some different levels. Would you say are?
Yeah, there's, up in Canada, there's so many competitive teams in Canada. It's one of our bigger sports. So initially when I first came into ladies, you do have a U21, which is, we called it juniors back in the day. Now there's a lot more different tiers, compared to when I was coming out of juniors. We came from juniors, U21, and then went right into ladies. And that's where we've competed since. But now Curling Canada is trying to kind of develop those younger teams. There's a U15, U17, U21, and then a U25. And there's different competitive options for that. But most of those teams, once they hit their 20s, are still playing in the women's circuit. So then once you're essentially at age, competing in those events, and you don't necessarily even have to be at age, I should clarify that, because there's some really young teams that are really good and they compete against these top level teams. They can enter the events. Yeah. Yeah. So how it kind of works is there's like the World Curling Tour, and then there's World Curling Tour events. So these events all across Canada, there's some in the States, there's some even overseas, not as many, but like they're primarily based out of Canada, a lot of the events. And you can enter into those events. You pay your entry fee, get in. And then from there, if you qualify for playoffs, make it every win, even you get points. So as your team kind of grows and you get more and more points, then you can get invited into bigger events like the Grand Slams. The Grand Slams is usually the top, what is it? 16. Might be a top 16 in the world. So then you're not just going against Canadian teams. Now you're going top 16 in the world. And then you get invited to those events. The big thing like our teams have often played for is our Canadian national, which for the women's side is the Scotties. The men's is called the Brier. So each province gets a representative and you have to compete to play off for that spot. As in sport's never fair, right? Like the hardest working team doesn't always win the championship, right?
Yeah.
So it's always kind of an unknown who's going to go, because especially Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, like those are very strong curling provinces. We're kind of the prairie provinces where curling is pretty big. And there's always good teams. Like no team at the provincial is an easy game. So you play to get into that provincial event and to be, like in my case, Team Saskatchewan. I did play out of Team Alberta or out of Alberta for a few years with the team, but this past year I was back in Saskatchewan. The last 2 years I was back in Saskatchewan.
And when did you start this? Like, when did you start playing?
So I first learned how to curl in grade 3. I grew up in the rink. Yeah, I grew up in the rink. My mom and dad curled. So when they were out curling, us kids were playing and tearing around in the rink. We were rink rats. Rink rats, yeah. Yeah. And then naturally, as soon as we could go in and learn to curl, anything like a kid's curling, we signed up. And I played multiple other sports through high school, though. It was never like my primary sport, I'd say, until I was out of high school. And I was like, I really want to keep playing and keep competing and get on a team in the city, because I was moving to kind of from my small town to a bigger city. It's like I can get on a team in the city, play a few more years of juniors at that time. And that's actually when I started playing with my one teammate that I don't know how many years we've actually played together, like maybe 8. Yeah, like, because we did play together in juniors and then we played like many, many years.
That's like sisters at that.
Yeah, and it was nice. She was on the team this past year when we won and went to the Scotties. So
you were thinking about not doing it any.
I know, honestly, this whole season, I was like, you know what? Like, it's the end of an Olympic kind of quadrennial. We call it every 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of restart. It's that rebuild. Like, do I want to do another 4 years and work towards the next Olympics? Do I want to do another 1 year? And throughout this season, I was like, I don't know. Like, this has been a lot of juggling. Like,
because all the other things we discussed.
And just like a lot of grinding through the season. It was like a lot of work. It felt like.
How much training are you doing every week for this?
I mean, I try to like practice 3 times a week. If I'm leading up to an event, 3-4 times. And then you go to the event, then you curl all weekend, right? So it's usually, I mean, I can usually practice in about 45 minutes when I'm by myself, because throwing rock after rock after rock, like your legs get pretty sore after a while. So the practice time itself isn't too long, but I try to do it consistently just to create consistent habits, especially because it is a very technical sport. So I'm usually always working on something in my delivery to be more precise. And I know this year I made like some really solid breakthroughs with my delivery, and I felt like I was throwing the best I ever have. And I think it kind of showed with my stats and just with how I was throwing consistently. It was like, oh, this is how I should have been sliding all these years.
But at least you had that huge win.
Yeah. So in that sense, it was like, oh, I'm throwing so well. It would be a shame to to retire and like step back. So truthfully, winning provincials, going to the Scotties, like relit a fire in me. And I was like, you know what? If a really good opportunity comes up and I line up with a team that kind of has those same goals to work hard, go all in, kind of that same philosophy of, the working out, nutrition, sports psych, everything that goes into a good team, I would jump on boards. It's still in kind of that Worlds just finished on Sunday. It's Monday today. Yeah. They just finished yesterday.
I think about that too.
Yeah. I was like, what day is it?
What day is it? I don't know anymore.
Yeah. So Worlds just finished yesterday. So a lot of the women's teams now, like they're going to have an idea of what's going on, pretty much every team in Canada is going to be changing. So it's going to be
the big dilemma. It's like leave on a win. You accomplish something so huge.
I know. I would love to get back to Scotties and like podium, like be on the podium at the end of the week. That would be a big goal for me. Like at this point in my career, I don't want to compete to compete. I want to
compete to win.
I want to compete to like be that, like essentially get that next step further.
And
yeah. So that's why I would be a little picky, I guess, with like the team I go with. It would have
that makes sense.
Yeah. It would have
to. Is it's only 4 people or 3 other people aside from you. So it's like easy and hard at the same time, right? It's like, it's only 3 other people you have to be up to that caliber of training and lifestyle. But not impossible.
It's not impossible, no. And I've definitely had some good conversations with other players that excites me. So we'll kind of see what happens in the next couple weeks and see how it all plays out. But hopefully I'm playing next year. That's the plan. And we'll see who it's with.
So this is a fun question. If you had to compare, which one has your heart more?
Oh, definitely curling.
Yeah. Not even close.
Not even curling. I mean, I love lifting weights and like getting stronger, but it's always been so I could be a better athlete. That's like always been kind of the goal, was to be a better athlete. With curling, when Will and I first met, I wasn't really doing CrossFit at that point. I was just working out, strength training. And like I was working with a trainer who was programming me for sport at the time. And when we got the gym and I started working in there and like got back into the CrossFit world, it was kind of cool to see CrossFit helped my performance as well. So it all the powerlifting, like Olympic lifting, and even the gymnastic stuff, it's just so much core, which in curling you need, like that's where a lot of your force comes from, sweeping, strong legs, like drives for the sweeping, obviously strong upper body. So it was cool to see, honestly, and feel like, for me, it was like feeling, I'm like, whoa, I feel a lot stronger this year getting on the ice. And that, I know that off season, I was like, the only thing I changed was adding in like 2-3 CrossFit classes a week. Like everything else in my training was the same.
It's so interesting because like, not a stereotype, but I feel like different fitness styles produce different body builds. And I feel like CrossFit kind of creates more of a broad, square, boxy body build, but you're so petite.
Yeah, and I think, it's kind of one of those things being like curling all year too. Like I curl from September till, this year was a little shorter with it being Olympic year. Usually we're still curling till end of March. So that's just a lot of, once I get into curling, it's a lot of high rep stuff that I switch to. And I think it's different too. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's body type's a little different. And I think it's dependent on how often you're doing CrossFit as well. For me, I only do it 2 or 3 times a week. And then I follow my programming kind of on the side for that. I find that way, because I do like to program myself based on the curling season. So like right now, for instance, kind of in a weird phase as I'm training for a high rocks race right now. And normally I wouldn't be training for a high rocks race. I'd be like into off-season training. Right now I'm doing cardio, conditioning, all that fun stuff that I normally don't like to push myself to do.
Yeah.
So it's a good challenge. But normally I'd be doing like strength training, because it's like, this is the time of year I can get strong. And then in the summer, I condition that strength into like power for sport. And then it's like a lot of conditioning come August. And then once we're in season, I have to be careful, truthfully, in the gym that I'm not doing too much that it's affecting my practice. Mm-hmm. So in season, I try to maintain the strength that I gained off season so that I can kind of build off that each year.
That makes sense.
And it's a lot of high rep stuff. I mean, 1 or 2, like an upper body day, a lower body day kind of maintains that throughout the week. But then it's a lot of conditioning, just high rep. I mean, CrossFit's great for that in season. And yeah, I don't know. There's so many different body types in CrossFit. It's hard to say.
There are.
Yeah.
I think definitely a stereotype, like I said.
Yeah. Especially that like competitive athletes, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think that's where you see that is, I mean, CrossFit Games. Mm-hmm. Like, they all have very similar body types.
Right.
But they're all training, to be the best at CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, I mean, the average Joe, like, I'm just using CrossFit as a resource, essentially, to be a better athlete and kind of using that training style. And that's kind of the funny thing with CrossFit, like Olympic lifting, powerlifting, even like the conditioning style. CrossFit kind of took that and like made it their brand, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, when you take like a sport specific course for programming for sport, it's like power cleans. That's one of the best things you can do to produce power as an athlete. And which we do lots of in CrossFit, right? And kind of all those Olympic lifts, explosive movements are good, like to condition
it's
that
incredible.
Power.
It's incredible. I just, what I'm so impressed with athletes in general, or anyone who takes the gym like really seriously, it's just, I think the outside world sometimes looks at it as shallow or vain, but the amount of like dedication that you have to put into something, your body is like a work of art.
Yeah.
And it's so incredible because it's not just showing up at the gym. It's the intentionality behind it. It's the lifestyle behind it.
Yeah.
Like your diet, hydration, drinking enough water, all these things. It's incredible. And the fact that you kept it on like your whole life, that you had this like athlete mentality.
And it's, I'd say like, I'm coming up on 10 years of being consistent in the gym.
Yeah.
And before I used to, work out hard for 3 months and then disappear for 3 to 6 months. But 10 years ago, it was actually April, like 10 years ago, I felt like garbage. I had zero energy. And I at the time, Scarlett was just, I think she was 1.5 years. And I started working out at home at the time, just like I needed something to do, something to move. And it's been 10 years of being like consistent, but there's been so many avenues of fitness in that 10 years, if that makes sense. There's so many tools a person can use.
That's the best part. There's something for everyone, every season. Especially, I think, in general, the fact that you're so dedicated to your craft. But in addition to that, like, you're a mom. I know you bring that up, but I'm like, that's amazing. Like, that's amazing. I'm so inspired by that because it's like, I know. And I think one of my fears, I guess, is just like, I know how much I struggle now doing it. And this is like a single woman without kids. Like, it's hard enough getting the motivation to do everything. And like the fact that you are literally doing it all, balancing a romantic relationship, being a mom, running a business, then you got your day job, all these things, not to mention your family, your extended family, your social life. Like, it's so incredible. I'm sure there was like sacrifices that you've had to.
Oh, yes. Like, especially different times of my life or different phases of the year. Like, throughout the curling season, I don't see some of my friends for a long time. And then spring hits. It's kind of funny because a couple of them are also, their kids are in hockey. Or we like come out of the woodwork in spring. We're like, hey, you got time to hang out now? And everything just kind of takes it's hard to just juggle it all and make everything, perfectly balanced all the time. It's just not realistic. So you just have to prioritize at different times of the year, depending on, what's going on with the business, say what's going on with curling. With curling in January, I curled, I was telling you, almost every day of that month. So that's all I did was like eat, sleep, curl. And then Will was a great help to like bring the girls out to events and like get them out there.
I think it's so cute. Like, she can like support you. And,
Yeah.
your mom came also.
Yeah, she came out too. And his brother was planning on coming too, but we had a massive storm when we were out there. Yeah. So, and all of my family pretty much made it out there to watch that week. So it was, yeah, it's like you kind of sacrifice different things at different points when you have to, and just try to make sure you're doing enough and seeing enough of the people and like communities that bring life into your life too, like that spark. So it's easy sometimes to get in a grind and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I haven't seen so-and-so. Like, I always feel like really lit up when I hang out with her.
Mm-hmm.
You always have good conversations, or I haven't been there for a while. And then, so I've found that over the years, just reflecting on stuff like that throughout the month even. And
yeah.
And
something I've been reflecting on recently, two parts, is talking about nurturing relationships. On one end, when you have friendships, romantic relationships, like once you've achieved those things, you can't just stop.
Right.
You have to keep nurturing the people in your life, or they're going to feel neglected. Now that you have to give over yourself completely in a way that doesn't make sense, and you're drained and your cup is empty, your gas tank has to be full for sure, or someone. But like you have to give people little
reminders that you're thinking of them even.
Honestly, sometimes it's the smallest things that can really make people be like, wow, I'm special.
Yeah.
It's so nice. And then I try to do sometimes where like, if I'm driving and I know I have like a 20-minute drive, who can I call right now?
Yeah.
Where like, I know the minute I get home, I'll be too tired to do anything, but like, it's fine. I live with my mom. So like, the minute I get home, I know I'm going to be too tired to talk to her. And I know the first thing that she's going to say is, how was your day? So every day when I drive home from work, I'm like, hey, Mom, here's what happened today. And like, I come home, she's like, I feel like I don't see you, but we talk every day. Just on the phone, not in person. It's just those little things. But also, like, I heard a really interesting take on this new business podcast that I found. I'm so sorry. I'll send it to you. But it was basically saying that networking, it's not like what you think. It's not like you're going to this big event and you're like, oh, here's my business card. Here's what I do. It's like making those real connections where it's not even just about business. It's just about like getting to know you as a person, in those friendships, nurturing those friendships, so that like, maybe I'm just talking about a cool venture that I'm doing one day and you're like, I have a resource that can help you. Or I want to be invested in this somehow, and then that is what true networking is. And it's like, when times get rough, who can you call? Or like having an airport friend. Oh my gosh. I just made my first like airport friend, I feel, because I think my biggest thing is I don't know if you struggle with this at all, but like I love giving. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I struggle.
Oh, yes. I'm very stubborn, and I
would take an Uber before I would force anyone to pick it up. But like recently, as an entrepreneur, you're like, you don't have as much funds. So like, I was just talking to my friends. I'm like, so what are you doing next Monday? Like 4 p.m. Driving to the airport. It's like, girl, yeah. I'm like, really? She's like, it's not a big deal. It's just a drive to the airport. And I'm like, we're so connected. We're like next level friends. This is so fun. It's so crazy.
And I feel like business is people. Like if you don't think business or entrepreneurship isn't people, like business and networking, all of that, it's just getting to know people, creating relationships with people and building off of that. And I think when you connect with somebody else, if I connect with somebody else, I want to help them out. Like what's your business? Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to support you or send people your way whenever I can. Vice versa. I think when you connect with somebody,
You just want to see them win.
yeah, you want to see everybody win.
Yeah.
Everybody can win. That's the thing.
Well, they can't.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that fills my cup up more than when I can facilitate someone else's win.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's why I've got to be rich. So
Yeah.
that I can help everyone else. You know?
Yeah.
And like, I had kind of slapped myself upside the head the other day, literally yesterday, right outside the store. I did a little pop up, and it's the party studio, so people are coming by.
Yeah.
There's a lot of foot traffic.
Yeah.
I sold 3 things that whole entire day.
Yeah.
And I was there from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. And so, like, first thing that happened was I went to victim mentality, where I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
What I do? Blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, wait a minute. Let's reframe.
Yeah.
What do we learn from it? How do we get better?
Mhm.
And I realized that I made a really big mistake, which is that I was tired.
Yeah.
So my energy wasn't as it should have been in terms of like connecting with people and being
Right.
friendly and outgoing. And then also I was like, I got so focused on sales and like wanting to sell coffee and going to sell
Mhm.
drinks that I wasn't thinking of like, what am I actually offering?
Right.
In my head, I kind of got lazy for a moment there, and I was like, oh, but it's coffee. Coffee sells itself, so that should be fine.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking about like, well, what can I do to make it more intriguing?
Yeah.
So then I have a farmer's market coming up this coming Sunday. And I was like, okay, what can I do to make it more fun for people? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bunch of cold brew and just give out free samples. And that will be my call out. So do you want a free sample of cold brew? That's how you begin that.
Yeah.
Start chit-chatting. And then I want to sell coffee bags. So I'm going to do a bundle that if people buy a coffee bag, I'll give them a free drink.
That.
Things like
Yeah.
that, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, what am I actually offering people?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to like rethink. How can I make it better for people? And then I also want to write a bunch of like handwritten letters. So for everybody who like buys something, I'm like, the thank you card is cute. So
Yeah. It's like that personal touch, right?
Yeah.
And I think like at like markets even and stuff like that, it's how can I catch somebody's eye?
Because I was thinking I was almost too much in the extreme of the consumer, where it's like, if I want to go to a vendor, I'll go to a vendor. But it's almost that guilt of, oh, are they trying to sell me something?
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want to. I mean, obviously, I am trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, everybody there is.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, but what am I offering you? So it's like, instead of focusing on sales, I'm trying to focus on impacts.
Yeah.
How can I like make someone smile? What can I,
Yeah.
do about their day? Like, even if it's just, they don't want a free cold brew sample, they're not stopping. Oh, I love your outfit, or your vibe is so cute. You know, like, there's so
Yeah.
many things you can do
Yeah.
to make them feel like even just 1% better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
And like, honestly, just making somebody's day that little bit better. They're going to remember you. I mean, even if they don't buy coffee that day,
Yeah.
they might take your card or remember the name and order online or
You
come
never
in
know.
once a year who shops.
oh yeah. This dream of mine, this coffee shop dream of mine. My friends are like, they're like, I can't believe you're actually out there going for it. Because this was a Pinterest board
Mm-hmm.
I created when I was 24.
Right.
And I was like, then I started looking into the business part of things. And I'm like, anything about business. Yes, I'm like, I'm going to get graphic designer to the day I die. And then I was like 27, 28, and I had lost my job. And then I was like, I guess I could apply for new jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I've been doing this for a really long time. I don't want to do graphic design for the rest of my life.
Right.
So it's like, what do I love? I love coffee and I love chit-chatting. And part of my vision is to have a podcast studio so I can meet cool people, just drag them in and
Yeah.
yeah, continue the connection.
It's all coming to light now.
Mm-hmm. And then I'll have to create a version yet. Oh,
Add it in.
sister.
Right. Well, we do need coffee on the center.
I'm surprised that Will hasn't gotten his postal coffee in there.
I mean, we have some of the beans in there, but like we'd like to have like an actual little coffee bar.
Yeah.
And have that rolling. Some little snacks, create more of a hangout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Community.
Community. Yeah.
Just more.
I mean,
easy for
people
people to never go home.
I mean, people like hanging out at the gym. If you have coffee, treats there, and a space for people
It's
to,
like-minded people, you know?
yeah,
It's like I love, I mean, Reading Fitness Trading has this like more than any gym I've ever been to before, where it's like you kind of sometimes get to know certain people. I don't know the front desk, you know, whoever works at the front desk, but like, I don't know, I get really shy.
yeah,
I'm still very shy.
oh yeah,
And it's just like as an entrepreneur, you don't have the luxury
hmm,
of being shy.
you have to turn it on.
But when I tell you that I would love nothing more than to mind my business,
Right.
and how like my few friends and like I would be so happy. But then like once I start talking to people, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that I like didn't keep going with this conversation.
I feel that.
So
Yeah.
has there been any part of this conversation that like maybe there was some part of your story that we didn't touch that you wanted to share with the audience?
Like, so there's honestly so much going on in my everyday life.
It's like, how do we break it all down?
Yeah, there's just so many pieces.
I have
Yeah.
a secret to teach you. And it's true. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret. I learned this recently and I loved it because, you know, when people ask like, hey, how are you? What's new? What's going
Yeah.
on? And it's like, I think you're similar to me where it's like, there is so much that's new and there's so much that's getting fun that you're like, first of all, what do you know? Like, what did I not tell you?
Yeah.
What's the gap that I need to fill?
What have I filled you in on already?
Should I not jinx so maybe I shouldn't speak about it yet, you know? And then it's also like, oh, it's all, your head's all over the place, right? And then you're just, I personally shut down from those questions because I get so by what I could possibly answer. Like,
Yeah.
what should you have? Like,
You want to go for dinner?
this is a long saga. So instead, a really fun question, it always promotes or provokes like a positive response.
Yeah.
Is what are you working on right now that you're really excited about?
I like that. Something we're actually working on that we're really excited about is expanding the gym up in Canada. So it's kind of building off what like Ready to Live has done down in St. Louis. Right now, we just have space for the CrossFit gym in Canada, but we are looking to expand and create like a full wellness center. So I'm super excited, looking forward to that. We'll have like athletic training area, a studio, and 24-hour access, lifting platforms, fit gym.
Please.
Fingers crossed. Yes, I'm working on Pilates, and there's a couple gals I'm talking to that are passionate about it. So I would love for them to run and like build something of their own. Also, like within that same space, there'll be like a supplement world, which is a line, like a franchise line up in Canada. So they do protein shakes, all that stuff, but also sell supplements.
So cool.
And yeah, then just getting some wellness professionals in there, like massage, physio, mental health therapy.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great concept. So why not give as many communities access?
Yeah, awesome. So that's like something that we've been spending a lot of time on behind the scenes that like the average person that even talks to us on a day-to-day basis has no idea that we, stayed up till 1 o'clock figuring things out for the next phase. And it's been a lot of groundwork. Just each phase, like that behind the scenes stuff, takes so much work. But it's something that we're super excited about, just to bring a bigger, broader, healthier hangout space to our community up there. Yeah.
At the end of every episode, this whole podcast is based on this Hebrew quote, which is Ezed Chacham Halamed Kol Adam, which means one who is wise is one who learns from everyone. So we learned a lot from you today. But if you could leave us with like one last little life lesson or quote, what would it be?
I think it would be to just believe that anything's possible. Don't put those limits on yourself. I know it can be hard, when you're battling and grinding through whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's in personal life, business, sport. But I think if you always just have that no ceiling thought, like there is no ceiling. We can reach that. We can succeed. We can hit that next goal. And beyond that, I think life gets pretty exciting when you start thinking of it like that.
No scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah.
needed to hear that, honestly. I think everyone does, whether they're an entrepreneur or not. Like, when did we stop dreaming?
Yeah. Well, and it's easy to get overwhelmed and I mean, scared with like it is scary jumping into new goals and to new levels. I like to call it like
New
we're on to,
levels.
we're on to that next level.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary, but it's also super exciting, super fulfilling. I mean, bringing a big vision to light is exciting.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes by Zig Ziglar is that if you have an idea for a business or a product that's not currently in existence, it's your moral obligation to make it real.
Yeah.
And my dad would say that if you feel scared, it's because you.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with nervous. Like if you're nervous, like you care, you want to do good. You want to perform, you want to like speak well or whatever it is you're doing. Yeah. I love that.
All the things. So, what's the best way for my audience to support you?
I'm on Instagram. That's my primary hangout spot. You can follow the gym on there. It's Up North CrossFit. My personal handle is Dayna.Demmans, Demmans. And yeah, that's where I usually hang out. I mean, I go on Facebook, but it's really only for business purposes. I like hanging out on it.
Yeah, like why? Forgot the Instagram and Facebook toggles each other.
Mhm.
And so like people are like, I see your stuff on Facebook all the time. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. This has been such a treat. I'm so glad I got to connect.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been a slice.
Did great, honestly. Like no one would know. Have you been on a podcast before?
No.
This is your first.
Yeah. First.
Hey, you're natural. Honestly, you did so good. Well, guys, this has been another great episode. Thank you so much for listening or watching. If you are not currently watching, the video can be found on Spotify or YouTube. I'm primarily trying to grow YouTube right now. So if you're not already subscribed, what are you doing with your life? Please go subscribe and share this episode with a friend. I hope you guys have a great week. Let's get it. Let's go.